What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Mets Roundtable podcast with the whole crew on the roundtable with Hayden, CP, and Hector to talk Mets on this off day. The Mets have had 2 days off because of unfortunate weather that they've been getting destroyed with this entire season, as they had another postponement and a game to be played at a later date. But we get to say what up to everybody and talk about our Mets on this off day. Hayden, how you doing?
Yeah, what is going on, everyone? Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Finally got this live on my channel. Took a hot minute because StreamYard is annoying. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Mets news, analysis, all that great stuff. And yeah, same old, same old. And that's really all I got. LFGM, let's go Mets, and excited to be here today.
Yes, sir. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm rushing all over the place. Sorry I'm late. I got the shadows here. Obviously, I'm not sure if you all are going to hear an echo or not, but I'm not in my usual setup. Nonetheless, we got to get the content out. Off day here. We can talk about a mini sweep, 2-game set because of the postponement. I did a pre-game live stream for the third game, and it was all for nothing. We're talking about how good Sonny Gray was, how much better Jose Quintana needs to be, all that good stuff, but it went on deaf ears because the game was postponed. So I appreciate everyone being here. Sorry, this is a little lackluster. I apologize. Shadows all over the place. You know how it goes. We're always on the move. Hit that thumbs up, though, and let's talk about some baseball, man.
Absolutely. As long as we can hear everybody, that's the most important thing. And Hector with the Mets jersey. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? Yeah, I figured I'd wear the Mets hockey jersey giveaway. I figured it was the appropriate thing to do, being that I almost had to twist your guys' arms to do this roundtable because, God forbid, we do a roundtable on a hockey night, but we could do it while the Knicks are playing. What the heck? So I said, let me wear the hockey thing. Nah, man, just messing around. But good to be here. Listen, not much. Like you guys said, only 2 games, so we should be able to get in and out of here and let everybody get to the hockey, which should be fun. Should be fun to see if these Rangers could go up 3-0. But good 2 games, a good quick 2 games, I guess, right? So yeah, excited to talk about it and to look a little bit to the next week or so, which should be also a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's some type of playoff hockey and basketball going on in New York right now. I don't know if you guys know, but hey, listen, good vibes all around. And that's what we're going to start with, right? The Mets had a chance yesterday, if it didn't rain, to sweep the Cardinals. They were going to face Sonny Gray. Would have been a tough task. But the Mets seemed like they were pissed off. To me, they looked pissed off playing in St. Louis. And I love that they played like that. And, a lot of people were down in the dumps once again, as they should be. There were a couple of games under 500 and got themselves right back to 500. They keep on going back and forth in this, merry-go-round of a game up, a game down, 2 games up, 2 games down, and then around back to 500. So, Chris, I'm going to start with you when it comes to, this 2-game series in St. Louis, right? You brought it up on X. Look what happens when the core contributes. It's just a lot easier to win ball games. It really is. When they do their job, this team looks a lot better than advertised. And I want to get your thoughts on the St. Louis series and finally seeing the core as a whole come through in St. Louis. And how do you feel about that? And what do you think this means going forward when we get Atlanta and Philly over the next week or so?
It's kind of like a tease for me, Rob. It was like, I know what this team and this offense can do when they're all clicking, especially the core. We always talk about the supporting cast versus the core. The supporting cast has won us ball games here, a couple ball games early on to this early season, and we just wanted to see the core kind of just step up and do their thing. Jeff McNeil in the second game had 3 hits. Starling Marte had 2 hits. JD Martinez 2 hits. Pete 2 hits. Brandon Nimmo keeps on raking. Let's talk about Brandon Nimmo, by the way. Brandon Nimmo swinging a hot bat. First game, he was that guy to bring this team back from the dumps. Obviously, Jose Butto started off abysmal, but he kind of locked in as the game went on, gave the Mets a solid 5 innings. And what do we always talk about with the starting pitching here as well? Keep this team in the ball game. And that's exactly what Jose Butto did after starting off very shaky. Brandon Nimmo finally, not finally, right? We've been seeing spurts of it, but not sort of consistency. And this is the word that's always going to bring me back to this lineup, is consistency or lack thereof. We haven't seen that consistency. And what my biggest takeaway from this little 2-game series with the Cardinals is that we get like a little bit of a taste of what this team can be. Now show us that they can be this team consistently. You know what I mean? And I just love the fight. I love the adversity, showing up in the face of adversity, especially the first game. And I like the offense setting the tone. And it's going to help your starting pitchers out. We always talk about the starting pitchers getting the job done. They're not going to wow us. Listen, nobody in this rotation outside of when Kodai Senga comes back really is going to wow us. Not on a consistent basis, at least. So they just need to keep this team in the ball game, and that's exactly what they did a great job of in this mini series against the Cardinals. But everybody, if they can get clicking, this is what the consistent theme has been the last couple of roundtables, right? We're like, okay, Nimmo's getting on board. Nimmo's getting hot. Can Lindor do the same thing? Okay, Lindor's getting it going. Where's Pete at? Where's Pete at? And we are like, we saw it one time, one game. We need to see it consistently, Rob. So I'm going to keep on beating that to the drum. That's going to be my theme of this roundtable in the chat as well. I'm just going to say this word about 100 times before the stream's done tonight. Consistency. No, but it's good to see, man. It's good to see Jose Butto doing what Jose Butto does. I'm excited to talk a little bit later about Christian Scott and his home debut coming up against the Braves, I believe. So it was a great stepping stone type of series. I really wanted to see game 3. I wanted to get the sweep. It was going to be a good challenge. Jose Quintana and Sonny Gray. Obviously, the pitching matchup would have favored St. Louis. By default, Sonny Gray's a stud. I wanted to see how the lineup fared, but I'll take it. Now you're rolling with a little bit of momentum against the Braves. How do you respond? That's the key. So that's what I got.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And you know what? It took 35, 36 games for this core, as the core four, whatever you want to call them, are the one that finally came through and did what they needed to do, and it made it not easy, but it seemed like a little bit more flow to the offense when the guys were getting going. So, Hayden, let's talk about the Cardinal series a little bit. You are the biggest Pete Alonso fan. We all know that. If everybody watches your channel, if you've been on so many different shows, we know you are one of the biggest Pete Alonso fans. And last roundtable, you were on Pete Alonso, probably the most I've ever seen you. And I want to get your thoughts over this 2-game series against the Cardinals. Again, it's not the end-all be-all, but it's a sign where he drove the ball and looked competent with a plan at the plate. So I want to get your thoughts on Pete Alonso as a player right now, and the team coming back home to face the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Mets Cardinals series looked great. Taking 2 of 2. Not their fault. They can't control the weather, but Manaea looks great. He went out there. He gave you a quality start. He pinpointed the strike zone. He pounded the zone. His biggest things. I think he only let up 1 walk, which is better because I was expecting him to let up like 5 or 6. So there was a huge start from him. 89 pitches, 57 strikes. So he located the zone more than none. Bullpen looked good. And then we saw clutch hitting from Nimmo. We've been seeing that power from Nimmo, which I do like. I do like that combination of power and discipline. And Nimmo's that hitter where he can exemplify both at an adequate extent. So game 1, you liked winning 4-3. And then game 2, great start from Butto. I think he looked great. It would have been nice if he could have went a little bit longer, but unfortunately he had a long, rough first inning. But most importantly, the core carried. Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil going 3 for 3. And the core is important. In my opinion, the core is going to be what make or break with this team. If they want to win, they want to make the playoffs, the core needs to be successful. As simple as it is to say that, and don't DM me about it because it's a fact. It's true. So great stuff from Nimmo. Absolutely love Nimmo. Honestly, he's becoming definitely up there with Alonso, one of my favorite players. He's getting that OPS up, but keeping that slugging as high, as well as the on-base percentage, which I really do like. So, we'll see. Unfortunate prayers to Wilson Contreras. Hopefully he could get better. And I don't know why catchers need to stop worrying about framing and worry about just playing the game, because that's the issue. And we'll talk about that another time. But great series from the Mets. We saw McNeil and Alonso go the opposite way. Just disciplined and patient at bats from those two. And those are the hugest thing is, seeing them take too many pitches that they shouldn't be taking and swinging at pitches that they shouldn't be swinging outside of the zone, especially McNeil, who's been chasing like crazy to the right-handed batter's box. So, yeah, I mean, if guys like Alonso and McNeil can play like that for 75% of the season, then, you know, we could see this team play in October. But unfortunately, we can't guarantee that right now. So super satisfied with what I saw. We saw a good ball club play in St. Louis. Listen, Cardinals aren't anything great. They're struggling offensively. Listen, Miles Michaelis isn't anything fancy, but you know what? You take small victories and you turn them into big victories. And I think that's going to be the moral of the story for this New York Mets team. Because now comes the real challenge. You're playing the Braves and the Red Hot Phillies, who, call it my opinion, but the Phillies are looking like 2011 all over again. They're looking great. Say what you want. They're playing against bad teams, but that pitching, I was looking at the Phillies pitching. Their worst pitcher is Taijuan Walker. Like guys like Mott Strom have like a 0.9 ERA. I mean, their whole bullpen is stacked. Their rotation is Christopher Sanchez, who? And he's like an ace on any other team, arguably. So we'll see how they go against the Phillies. And, of course, now the Braves. It will be nice to see Christian Scott play at home. Quintana needs to bounce back. And Severino, just keep doing what you're doing. And we'll see if the offense, if the core can do what they did in St. Louis at home, we can come on here next time and be happy to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely. And heck, we're going to get to you in a second. Yeah, I mean, you're facing the Braves. Guess what? You got to score runs. It's just that simple. I don't care who's pitching in this matchup. You know, with Quintana, Scott, and Severino going into 3 games, you know, they're going to give up runs. Like I find it hard to believe, and it's not even that's not even a negative take. It's just common sense for what the Braves do all season. They score 5-6 runs per ball game. You're going to give up runs. It's up to the offense to score some runs, and that's where I'm going to get to you, Hector, because the Mets did score runs in St. Louis. I know it's the Cardinals. I know their pitching is not great. The Mets did not face Gray, but you saw better at bats from the main guys. You saw better at bats all through the lineup, where it wasn't just home runs. It was driving the ball gap to gap, right? That was the one thing that I love to see from Pete Alonso in the St. Louis series. He drove the ball, and that was what I wanted to see from him, Heck. And I want to get your take on Pete Alonso as a whole, because it was a big topic the last time we spoke on the roundtable. But Brandon Nimmo been our best player, and that's a fact. So give me your take on the St. Louis series and what's to come with the Braves.
No, listen, for me, what else can I really add? Well, first, sorry, but shout out to my guy, Aaron. I see you, Aaron. I see the shout out there. I appreciate you, brother. And guys, I mentioned it before. I finally know who it was that I saw at Citi Field that recognized me. It was my guy, Kendrick. I saw him make a comment in here before. That was the name. I knew when I would see the name, I would recognize it. So what's up to Kendrick, man?
Shout out Kendrick.
Yeah, and listen, for me, the St. Louis series was funny, right? Because it was like both games was a little bit different. The first game, you see Manaea gets the early lead, and he's cruising, and then we get to the 6th inning, which we're like, okay, we're pushing this guy. That's what we want to see. And then he falters, right? And, you know, thanks to my guy, Brandon Nimmo, whom you just mentioned, who people are like, well, why you don't kill Brandon Nimmo? Well, because Brandon Nimmo's been the best Met for 3 years, man, the most consistent Met for 3 years. Listen, maybe not the best, but to me, he's been the most consistent Met for 3 years, and that puts him probably up there as the best to me. Maybe the numbers are not as good as Lindor. He's not putting up the 30-30 or the 40 home runs that Pete is, but he's there. You can count on him, and I'm pretty sure we're going to look at the end of the year, and the number's going to be right there, if not better. So shout out to him. But that was what I took of it from it, like a little bit like we jump out early. I mean, and then we can't hold on, and we take the lead again. And then game 2, Budo comes out a little bit shaky, gives up the 3 runs, then settles down, and we're able to come back, which is another thing that I love about this team. This team, it's going to sound crazy, but it's almost like the Knicks, right? They don't give up. They don't give up. And it drives us crazy because they seem to not be able to hit starting pitching, but bring in the bullpen, and there they are ready to go. Like, let's go, baby. Everybody wants to hit. So that's a good trait to me. You know what I'm saying? As long as you can hit late in ball games, you're always in the ball game, as long as your pitching is able to keep it close. And that's what we have from this team. You know, the starting pitcher doesn't go as long as we want, but for the most part, they've been consistent. Yeah, Quintana had that little rough start after the long outing, and then what's his face? Severino, same thing. But the bullpen continues to do its damn thing. Reed Garrett, the man. I agree with my guy Amizi. I'm always gonna shout him out. Ottavino, now he doesn't scare me. Ottavino terrifies me, and he did try to blow that game the other day, and then thought better of it. But nah, man, just that's my takeaway from it. Good to see the offense come around a little bit. Obviously, great to see Peter Alonso come through that day. Especially, he made me look good. Everybody thinks like I'm some wizard now. I'm just a fat guy with a big gut, and sometimes it gives me some good thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So that was fun to see, and it's been good to see Lindor continue to get hits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the first game he didn't get a hit, but came back game 2 and had 2 hits. You know what I'm saying? Good to see Marte pretty much every night be involved in everything. Now we want to see the rest of the core. McNeil, is he really going to come out of it? We kind of seen this, If McNeil and Alonso could join the party along with the supporting cast, then we ready to go. The last thing I'll say about this series, because it happened both games, and I think I did a video, I made a post about this before. I don't know how you guys feel about it. We have 4 capable outfielders, 4 above average outfielders. I don't need to see DJ Stewart in left field, right? Who hurt Budo a little bit, right? And I don't need to see Jeff McNeil, as much as I love him, in left field. That should be emergency only. I don't care about this matchup crap. We talk about run prevention. Put me some good outfielders out there and stop freaking playing games. I love Mendy. I love what Mendy's done. He's one of the positives this season. But that right there is going to drive me crazy all year when I see that we start these guys. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to have these guys out there. You got 4 above average outfielders. Use them. Oh, my guy Junior Swingman. What's up, my dude? Anyways.
Yeah, heck, you're 100% right. Like when I saw DJ Stewart, I know he's a right fielder. I guess,
He's a right fielder. He's a freaking DH.
Yeah. Yeah, when you got 4 very capable outfielders, you don't need to see Jeff McNeil nor DJ Stewart in there, and it could affect you, especially defensively. Where this team needs to be good defensively all around the field to be in games, and it's true. This team does fight. Me and Chris talked about this in the last pregame. This team should have 20+ wins already, just based on losing games the way we did, having leads, losing them late, or just playing well enough, but still losing a ball game. I think that, this team, almost every game they seem like they're in it, even if it was a little later in the game where the other team might have, opened up their lead and got insurance runs. They've been always in these games, and that is a good sign, especially within 36 games into the season, that most of the core really hasn't been there the entire season. That's good signs, because when they do get hot, and if they start getting hot at the right time and together, maybe it would be during this 6-7 game stretch, when we face, or 5 game stretch when we face the Braves and the Phillies. I think that's important. But I wanted to I'm kind of in this spectrum where Easy and Ricardo said in the chat, we need to see them hit at home. It's been a huge problem. It's been a talking point all throughout Mets Twitter, Mets X, everywhere you find a Mets fan. It's about hitting at home. They have a problem hitting at home. It's not like it's a cavernous ballpark or the Great Wall of Flushing, as Howie Rose called it. Back when Citi Field first opened. This other teams are hitting at Citi Field. They're hitting balls over the wall. They're driving balls. The Mets need to start hitting at home. And Chris, I'm going to come to you on this one. The Mets got to show it. And Hector, I'll get to you. Don't worry.
No. You're good. It's a great point that I always like to talk about because.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my turn.
I kind of.
No, go ahead, Hector. If you got a strong point on it, go ahead.
Yeah, heck. Heck.
Because I think it's real. I think what you're saying is real. And I think if you listen to these guys, they've talked about it, especially Brandon Nimmo, and people ignore it. And especially last year, because there was a time period where not everybody, a lot of people, especially in these spaces that I go to, wanted to hate on Brandon Nimmo. Like that was the thing to do last year for a certain point, because he came in with a nice haircut. He got some money. Who does this guy think he is, right? And everything Brandon Nimmo said was like, what the hell is he talking about? But he's talked about how especially out to right center field. And I think it affects Pete sometimes too. There's times, come on, guys, we're watching the game, and I know they feel it as hitters, and you see him crush a ball out there at right center, and it just dies. You know what I'm saying? And I've thought about it a lot with JD Martinez because he's already hit a couple of balls. Yeah, one went off the wall. It was kind of misplayed. I forget who the hell the way we're playing. Right center field. The center fielder could have probably made the play. Right field. I forget who it was. But JD Martinez said, "Oh, I picked the Mets instead of the Giants because it's a better ballpark to hit in." I'm like, dude, I don't think you really know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
And when you talk about other teams, right, it's easy when you come in as a visitor. You're playing 3 games. Boom, boom, boom. You're not thinking about it. But as a home player, when you crush the ball and they catch it, you're like, damn, I got to hit it a little bit harder. You ain't got to do shit. You ain't got to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you get into trouble sometimes because the ballpark is messing with you because I think it is something there. I don't have any numbers, any scientific proof or anything like that. But if you watch this team enough, if you watch baseball enough, if you know this game, you can tell. If you listen to them speak, especially Brandon Nimmo, who's spoken about it a couple of times, absolutely, this ballpark has something to do with it. And I think as a home player, the more you play, you can either learn to deal with it or it can screw you up for a couple of weeks. And then, you go on the road, maybe you have a couple of good games and you come back and you forget that you play in Citi Field, this Convenience Ballpark or whatever the case may be. Or maybe it's the winds coming from the Bay. I forget how the stadium is laid out. I don't know. But I think about it sometimes when I'm in there freezing, if they really thought about how the hell they was building the stadium. But anyways.
Well, Chris, before you start it up, it reminds me of David Wright when we first saw the specs of Citi Field. What is his best offensive? The way he hits right center field, and right center field was cavernous, and it made no sense. You start a player and you make the hardest home run type of at bat you need to have to hit a home run to right center, which is his biggest asset. Was right center, and you kind of made it impossible to hit it, and it got into David Wright's head.
Rob, isn't it crazy before Chris goes? You do that, right? And you kind of build a ballpark for Jose Reyes.
Jose Reyes, yeah.
You
and
let him walk, and you extend. Go ahead, guys.
Get it, Chris.
No, I mean, I really don't have any points on it. Everybody, I don't have the statistics right in front of me as well to back it up, but we all know and we see with our eyes in terms of how this offense flows at Citi Field versus away. How many times do we have to see the warning track, quote unquote, power from this team before we just like rip our hair out? And this has been a consistent thing over years and years. It's not just this season we're picking up on this or last season. It's been consistent warning track power, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for the players, but you know what? The bottom line for me as a fan, as a player, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? They're not bringing the fences again. They're not doing that. The ballpark dimensions aren't just going to magically change. So adjust or hit the weight room. One of the two. I don't know. You tell me what they got to do.
Cork the
But
bat.
it's really a non-topic for me, to be honest with you. It's either they do it or they don't. You know what I mean? There's nothing preventing them from hitting a ball in the gap. There's nothing preventing them from doing that. Same thing if you talk about Oracle Park over there and why JD Martinez didn't want to play over there. That's Triple's alley over there. You're not going to hit the ball out there. Hit it in the gap. You get a triple. Damn near just as good.
He can't
The
run.
next man will get you in.
JD can't run, so he's like, damn, that doesn't work for
Well,
me.
that's facts. So double. He'll take the double. Facts. No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's almost a non-factor to me as a fan in talking about it because it's just like they're either going to do it and they're going to do it eventually or they're not. But you can't sit there and complain about it regardless of who your name is. Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso. You can't complain about it. This team and this organization is not going to bring the fences in just because of that. So it's frustrating. I get it, but they're going to have to turn it around at some point. And you make the necessary adjustments. This is where it's advantageous maybe to hit the ball down the line. I'm not saying you have to do it consistently. I'd rather see a better approach and you just hit it in the gap. But make adjustments. You know what I mean? So that's really all I got on that, to be honest with you. Nothing else. Make adjustments.
I think,
and I don't think they complain about it. Sometimes it comes up in
No,
conversation.
No, but you know what though? It seems like when the ball doesn't go over the wall, they seem like they get their hitting home runs in their head at Citi Field is like the end all be all. Like if we don't do that, we don't win ball games. It seems like it gets in their head. Like when a ball hits off the wall that should have been a 3-run shot, it ends up 1 run scored and a double. I think it gets in their head. I think it does, professional or not. I think it does. I don't think it should. I think, you hit the balls in the gap, like Chris says, drive the ball, a double. How about getting a triple, hitting them down the line, something else.
Hitting's hard, guys. Hitting's hard.
Absolutely.
So hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
and baseball's mental. You know what I'm saying? Baseball is super mental, man. If you go to the plate screwed up, thinking about other things, thinking about your last at bat to a certain extent, right? Because listen, you can think about your last at bat and how the guy worked on you and stuff like that, but you don't want to go out there harping on a bad at bat or anything like that. The good stuff, you always want to take it with you. The good stuff always makes you feel good, but the bad stuff, you want to be able to how to shuffle that out. And hitting is hard as hell. I have a hard time in softball. I almost retired on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't hit the damn ball. Hitting is hard. Yo, shout out to my guy Trey who says we know our stuff and we should be on WFAN. Help us out. Let them know, man. I would love to be on WFAN.
and to that point, someone tell Jeff McNeil that, because how many times have we seen Jeff McNeil hit into the jet stream and he gets robbed and he has an absolute shocked face going into the dugout? Like, how did that ball not get out? I've seen it too many times over the last couple of years. Like, someone tell Jeff McNeil that, to be honest with you. It's just, it's just funny.
Jeff
it's just
McNeil
funny.
Guy, and even I'm done with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I also understand how that could wear on a team, like that attitude, like that pouting all the time. And I even read, what the hell was I reading? I read so much stuff. It gets mumbled in my brain. But I was reading something either yesterday, this morning, today, where yo, Junior, you funny. I gotta pay for WGBB. If I get on WFAN, they'll pay me. Anyways, where they were rehashing. I don't know how I was reading this. The whole situation with Lindor and McNeil, and they talked about, and I know we've heard this because it was surprising to me, or not surprising, it was eye-opening, where you found out about the background a little bit, where McNeil was refusing to apply the analytics. And I'm not an analytics guy, but he was refusing to apply it as it pertained to defense, right? And defensive placement and the shift, and he wasn't where he was supposed to be. So a couple of times that was causing conflict. That was causing frustration until we got to that point where they fought about a rat or a raccoon. You know what I'm saying? But like, those are the kind of things where they talked about how it was bothering not only Lindor, but other teammates as well. You know what I mean? And yeah, you look at McNeil, and geez, we don't want to do the negative shit, man. We just won 2 games. But you look at McNeil all the time, and even when he gets a hit sometimes, and I think about, maybe that's just his face, as a sick person that I am sometimes, and I hang out by the players that after the games. Guys, even as he's driving by himself in his car, he looks... Sometimes I just want to say, like, maybe it's just that he's just an introvert. Is that the word for it? Introvert? He's just one of those people. Like, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't want to hold it against him, but I'm with you, Chris. I talk too much. Go ahead.
I think...
Yeah.
I mean, I would say right now the biggest thing with this offense is just the hitters need to be the hitters they are. I think that everyone's just trying to hit the long ball, and that's not necessarily everyone's what they're capable of. I mean, McNeil is the prime example of that. We see that launch angle swing way too much. I mean, McNeil's chase rate has gone up extremely. McNeil's chase rate outside of the strike zone has gone up extremely. And you don't even need to look at the analytics. You just watch 5 Met games in a row and 3 at-bats in each game, and it's pretty obvious. So I think the thing with McNeil is he just needs to go back to that slap the ball hitter and go the opposite way. We saw it in St. Louis. He went to the opposite way, and I think his 3rd hit. And when that happened, I said, like, is this a highlight or is this live? And I don't know. I think it comes to the point where there's power hitters, but there's not power hitters. And I think this team needs to start focusing. I'm not saying on more fundamental baseball, but this team needs to start focusing on whatever the hitter is capable of, that's what they should be doing. And I think this team relies heavily too much on trying to hit the long ball. It doesn't work. Go gap to gap. I mean, this team is ranked what? I think, and it's weird because you look at this team offensively and they're in the middle of the pack of everything. I mean, they're 18th in slugging. the only thing they're last.
That
in
got a
is
tad
triples.
better. That got a tad better
That
because before
that
the Cardinals series,
that
we're
did
talking
that
about
did,
it
and this
for
isn't
sure.
updated. This is before the Cardinal series that I wrote this down. The only thing that we're last in is triples, which, boo-hoo, I'd like to get that up. But I mean, as of right now, this team is literally the most average ever. I mean, there's 18, 17, 16, 15, 11. I guess that's the one good thing. But overall, just offensively, I would say the hitters need to be the type of hitters that they're capable of being. And I think the biggest thing goes with guys like McNeil. You know, McNeil tries to be this power hitter. I mean, he did it the second half of 2019, and it worked for him then, but I just don't think it's going to work for him now. He's evolved so much as a hitter on what type of hitter he is capable of. I mean, the shift has changed it a lot of his hitting mentality. I mean, right now, really, the only power hitters you have on this team are capable power hitters. Pete Alonso, and this could be backed up by ISO at least, is Pete Alonso, JD Martinez, and arguably Francisco Lindor. If I'm forgetting anyone that obvious, call me out, but everyone else seems to be the type of hitter they are, hitting 10, 15 home runs a year. I think this team tries to hit the long ball way too hard, and you see it. They have warning track power. And my thing is, they did it at one point. They were able to hit it. I mean, yes, it was a juice ball era, so I think that's why. But I don't know. I find this offense very frugal and very interesting.
Well, you know, is Jeff McNeil a product of the shift? Like,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely, yeah.
Is it possible that he was just a product of the shift? Because when he was going up through the minor leagues, the shift was already there as well. So, and you know, he was batting well over 300, batting 350 in the minors before they brought him up. And when he came up to the majors, the shift was there. It wasn't illegal yet. So, and when they banned it, so I have a feeling that, you know, the last year and a half, they banned the shift, and Jeff McNeil's nowhere near a 300 hitter. And that's kind of the hitter we need him to be in this lineup, because he's kind of a useless player. Let's be honest. He's not great defensively, and he's not a power hitter. He's an average guy. He's a guy that needs to hit 300 or more to be successful in a lineup where the Mets rely on him getting on base and being that guy that can, you know, have a 10 pitch at bat. You know, he was the guy that would follow 9 pitches before he gets to 1 and 1 and hits it right up the middle. Like, I don't think he's that. I think he's a product of the shift more than he is the hitter that everybody believes he is. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in on that, but I think he is a product of the shift.
You know what? It's interesting that you say that, because that's what I kind of wanted to touch on. And I'm like, is he being hurt because there's no shift? And is it because of a mental thing, right? Because let's think about this. The shift is designed to do what? To take away your strengths, right? To be where you hit the ball most of the time, right? That's what the shift is there for. Now, you wouldn't tell me McNeil had the back control to then hit against the shift, which is a great thing, and not everybody can do it, right? Not like what's this guy's name that was killed by the shift? Joey Gallo, right? He can't do it. He refuses, right? Some guys just refuse to hit the ball the other way. But I'm thinking, like, if you're a hitter, a no shift should help you, right? Because now I can't put my defenders where you hit the ball. And you're a good hitter. You're just hitting the ball wherever you're being pitched. I'm going to pitch you inside. You take it down the line on me. You hit it in the right field gap, right center field gap, whatever. I pitch you outside. You're going to hit it over third base, left center field, right over the short, whatever the hell it is. I throw you down the middle. You're going to take it right up, like, take the pitcher's head off. That's what a hitter does. That's what Luis Arias does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm thinking, and I was going to be like, nah, guys, you know, but maybe you're right. Maybe Jeff McNeil was never good. Maybe, and I think about something else here, but I don't want to see him try to do it. Maybe Jeff McNeil's strength is a detriment to him, right? Bear with me here, guys, because I saw, and you might have seen it too. What's this guy's name? Daniel Murphy on Terry Collins' show, right? And he talked about how Kevin Long came to him and said, "Oh no, not even it wasn't Kevin Long. The assistant hitting coach at that time, Rossler, whatever the hell his name was, came to him and said, "Yo, dude, you make too much contact, and it's no good for you to make contact on bad pitches when you're making weak contact and you're getting yourself out. So let's focus on your contact being here, and boom, and it worked for Daniel Murphy, right? So do we want to see what? Because we're just talking about here, and I agree with you, Hayden, because I said it last time. I don't think everybody should be turned into a power hitter. But maybe Jeff McNeil, because you make so much contact, let's see if you can play Pepper with the Coca-Cola corner, a la Daniel Murphy. Maybe, because maybe the fact that he does make contact and he takes those stupid swings that make me sick to my stomach. Like, what the hell are you doing? Try to hit the freaking ball hard. Stop trying to bloop everything. Stop trying, you know what I'm saying? But he makes contact on those pitches. So there's pitches that you shouldn't be swinging at Jeff McNeil. I say, I'm sorry, guys. People hate this, but I don't care because I still play this game. I play baseball and I play softball. And I tell guys all the time, when there's a strike, it's okay. You don't have to swing at every strike because just because it's a strike doesn't mean you can do something with it. So as long as it's not the third strike where you got to defend, let it go.
Yeah.
Have confidence in yourself. Let it go. Spit at it. Have that crap. Don't throw another strike.
Well, you know with Jeff McNeil though, like it seems like he's never balanced at the plate, right? Like for a while, like he seems like he has happy feet in the box, like his back foot is flying out everywhere. I think Gary Cohen brought it up in a broadcast. I think it was the last homestand where they kept on zooming in on his back foot, and his back foot's flying out of the batter's box, and it's up in the air. Like he's always on his front foot, and I think that he's just all messed up at the plate.
He's just throwing his hands, like, right? He just throws his hands at the
his hands are all over the place, his feet are all over the place. His, when your feet and your hands are all over the place, guess what's moving as well? Your head. So when your head is moving, one thing when you hit, you play baseball, you got to keep your head still. You got to look where the pitch is going. Bat the ball. Hand-eye coordination, all of that. So it is interesting with Jeff McNeil. Hopefully he turns it around. I mean, it's only going to help the Mets if he performs the way we think he can perform. So the Mets got Atlanta next. They're 22-12, 10 games over 500. They're in second place right now in the NL East as the Phillies are in first. And the Mets got, obviously, the Braves first. You see on your screen, you got Morton, Fried, Elder against Quintana, Scott, and Severino. We're going to jump to game 2 here because I think a lot of us want to talk about Scott. And not because, we got 2 veterans in game 1. We talk about the same thing with Jose Quintana, right? He's a veteran. When he has a bad game, you think he's going to bounce back. Charlie Morton is like 97 years old, still pitching well. And the Mets sometimes hit him hard or they don't hit him at all. So I'm going to leave game 1 to the side. But game 2 is very interesting. Fried in a contract year. Christian Scott is second game as a Met, first at home in front of the Citi Field crowd. Hayden, I want to ask you something. We saw what Christian Scott can do when he pitched. He struggled a little bit in the first, and then he figured it out and pitched extremely well. And that's exactly what his MO was in the minor leagues. He would struggle out of the gate, but figure it out and then pitch extremely well. What do you want to see from Christian Scott against a very, very good? I mean, this is a big ass lineup for Christian Scott to face. He seems like he has the confidence. He seems like he has the attitude to go up against a team like the Atlanta Braves, and that's what I want to see. I want to know what you want to see with it. What you want to see with Christian Scott. Hayden.
I mean, you said it, the attitude. I mean, we saw it in his post-game press conference after he played against the Rays. He just was very eager, very ambitious, and just had the mentality of a pitcher that you want to see at the major leagues. Christian Scott is here to stay for the most part. I don't think the Mets are going to limit him that much. I think to an extent they could, depending on the situation. But I think when it comes to this weekend, Mets Braves, it's one of the biggest rivalries in baseball for the Mets, at least. The Braves have beaten up on the Mets in important games the last couple seasons, and this would be a nice moment. Earlier this year we saw the Mets win in Atlanta, right, and they took 2 or 3. Now the Braves are in our territory, and it comes to the point of show them who's in charge, show them whose ballpark this is, And I think Christian Scott could easily go out there. He has that mentality to do it. And if he can go out there, give you 6 innings, 7 innings, quality start, 1-2 runs, maybe 3 max, that'd be great. Yeah, and you said it, Rob. Scott has always struggled early on in the games. He even in the minor leagues, we saw it in his first start against Tampa. But if he can get out of them, which he did, right? He gave up 1 run and he had runners on the corners with no outs. And yeah, I think it was like strikeout, double play, or something around those lines. So if Scott's capable to get a lot of swinging and misses, which he did, right? I think he had 14 swinging and misses in his previous start, which I think is probably one of the most this season from Mets pitching. Maybe Severino beat it that one start when he was lights out. But as of right now, Christian Scott just have that bulldog mentality, and that's what this team needs. This team is very weak. DM me all you want about it. This team is weak, very mentally. They get hit hard, and it's good to have someone in the clubhouse, especially a pitcher, who can go out there and be in charge of that. And I think Scott is that guy, and Scott's him. Christian Scott is him. As simple as it is.
Yeah, and you said it, right? They did win the series in Atlanta early on in the season, and I thought that meant something to this team and the Mets fan base. I think that it gave them a little bit of confidence. I know they went on that 12 out of 15 stretch, which was very good, and then they came back to earth again. But I think that was important for a Mets team mentally to get going on that stretch that they did. And listen, they're coming home now. Listen, you beat the Braves early on in the season in Atlanta. Take it to them at home. Like, there's no excuses anymore. Like, I'm sick and tired of the excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses from the core. I don't want to hear no excuses from anybody in this rotation. Christian Scott, if he has the bad game against the Braves, it's the second start of the year, but I think he's going to pitch well. I think he's got the demeanor. He's got the attitude. I think he's going to pitch well. But show up at home. Give your fan base something to cheer at Citi Field. And what better for your fan base to come alive than beat the Braves' ass at Citi Field? You want people to come to Citi Field? You want Hector to be the only one in the section? Or do you want people around him giving him high fives when Pete Alonso hits the 3-run homer? Get your ass at Citi Field, right? They're 500. If I told you on May 9th the Mets are a 500 team, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. That means they're right in a wild card hunt. I know it's early in the season, but you're starting to look at it now the way it's kind of unraveling that the Mets are probably only chance of making this playoffs is the 3rd wild card most likely. And they're right in the mix with every other mediocre, middle-of-the-road team in the National League. So how to get your fan base alive, Chris? Win at Citi Field against the Atlanta Braves. It's fairly simple.
Yeah. And how do you win against the Atlanta Braves? You hit the baseball where they ain't. That's what you do, because that's the only reason why they took that series in Atlanta, because Atlanta was hitting the ball, but the Mets were hitting the ball better. And so if this Mets offense resembles anything like what we saw against the Tampa Bay Rays, which happens to be Christian Scott's last outing, a gem that was ruined, then these fans aren't going to be happy, and we're not going to be happy on here. So it's all about the Mets reverting back to when they went to Atlanta, which, by the way, coincidentally is not Citi Field. So another instance of them hitting the ball well away and not at home. Change the narrative. Get your pitcher, the guy that's literally making his home debut as Rob exits the chat, because he's like, I've already heard this so many times. It's falling on deaf ears. We're frustrated. But yeah, get Christian Scott some run support, man, because what he did in his last outing, given the fact that he had no run support with it, was absolutely ridiculous. And for him to actually be that efficient in his MLB debut, working such a tight line, walking a tightrope, especially after a little bit of a shaky first inning, shame on the offense. So the offense needs to get his back in this game on Saturday against their ace as well, Max Fried. This is a classic matchup that you throw in your rookie. I'm not going to call him a phenom, but the guy that everybody's excited about in this fan base, because we've been hearing about him for the last year and a half, come up, lighting it up in the minor leagues. The offense needs to do his job just equivalent as Christian Scott needs to do his job. It really is. And actually, when we get to the next segment, and we're talking about the rotation because they've pleasantly surprised me so far this season. So, yeah, that's all I got to say, man. And you're right, Rob. This is a way to fire up the fan base. Take another series against the Atlanta Braves. Keep on stacking wins. Keep on floating at that 500 mark against this tough stretch of NL East opponents. And then when you play that inferior competition, capitalize, build some more W's on your resume, and we'll be talking about it for roundtables to come throughout the season. And hopefully by the end of it, we're on here talking about a playoff series preview on the roundtable. But the good habits start right now. The good habits you have to build on May 8th. I know it's early. You just said it's early. Build the good habits.
Yeah.
So the offense needs to show up. By the way, we didn't even say it. I don't know. I'm sure we said it early in the stream. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You got Kobe, Ricardo, Kendall, M-Easy, Junior, Cal, Trey, Kenny. I appreciate all you guys. Hit that thumbs up. This is being streamed to multiple places, whether you're on X or whether you're on YouTube, being streamed to Hayden's channel, my channel, Rob's channel, all of our X's up on the panel. Make sure you all hit us up. Follow us on social media as well. Subscribe to the channel as well. Everybody's channel. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much. But yeah, offense got to show up. This is a test for this offense, and this is going to show me what they're really made of. Two division opponents that are battling it out with each other, and the Phillies and Braves for NL East supremacy, to be the top dog. And here come the Mets. Nobody's expecting them to win the division. Nobody up here is expecting us to win this division. But set the tone. This would be a great time to have MEZ never say again in this chat that the Mets can't hit at Citi Field. Because that's what he loves to say. Every single time, MEZ is the first one to say they can't hit at Citi Field, though.
Yeah,
we could be on a road trip and we can be on a road trip and they could be putting up 10 runs and we'll come on a post game and MEZ's like, but they can't hit at Citi Field though. So prove them wrong.
Absolutely. And listen, if the Mets are, look what's going on in New York with the Rangers and the Knicks, how fan bases, especially the Knicks fan base, have been down in the dumps for 20 plus years. And it took a couple of years and Jalen Brunson and the core of the Knicks now. Madison Square Garden's alive from Knicks basketball again. And Mets, if you're a Mets player, you want that feeling at Citi Field. You want that feeling that you had in 2022, where every time you went to Citi Field, you had a damn good chance of winning the ball game. And I don't think Mets fans have that confidence right now. It will go a long way.
Rob.
I'm not saying that you have to sweep the Braves, but win a series against the Braves. You know, even if you split against Philly or take 3 out of 4 against Philly over a stretch, even though it's only 2 at Citi and 2 at Citizens Bank, this is a 5-game, 6-game, 7-game stretch, 6-game stretch for them to do what they got to do.
You got it right. 7 games.
Yeah, 7-game stretch to really prove to your fan base, hey, the summer months are coming. I want to go to a Mets game at Citi Field.
Yeah.
I think this is the stretch where it's going to determine a lot.
And I love that comparison to MSG because what was the theme at MSG? Opposing opponents come in and have career nights and beat the Knicks at MSG. And the Knicks could have a flawless game, but somebody on the opposing roster is going to go in there and have a career night and beat them. And guess what's happened? The Knicks are defending home court now in the playoffs, led by Jalen Brunson. The Mets need to do more of the same. Stop letting these guys come into your home ballpark in front of your home fans and have career nights, whether it's a no-name pitcher that the Mets love to make look like a Cy Young, or just someone having a career night at the plate. I've had enough of it. And so have all these Mets fans in the chat, particularly MEZ, and all of us on the chat, man. Like, we are sick of it. So I love that comparison. I just had to give you props because that was actually pretty brilliant.
Absolutely. I want to bring up a comment here. Kenny said, are you guys worried about our bullpen who has been outstanding but overused? Well, I'm not. To be honest with you, the reason why I'm not is because David Stearns is a master of figuring out bullpens and how to keep these guys fresh. You've seen how many times guys been coming up through the minors, coming up, replacing guys that pitched maybe 2 or 3 days in a row or pitched a lot of pitchers in the previous game or two. And they have a lot of guys that have options that they're bringing guys up. So they're keeping the majority of the bullpen fresh. Yes, the main guys might be overused a little bit, but they get paid to be in ball games late in the games. You know, the what you worry about is the middle relief, the guys that are interchangeable. That's why he's been, you know, those middle relief guys are coming up in the from the minors and get an option down because they pitch too many pitches or innings. I'm not worried because David Stearns knows how to do this. He's done it with the Brewers for years and always had a top 5 bullpen in baseball when he was the GM of the Brewers. So if anybody wants to jump in on that, I don't think they're overused. I think they're going to be fine.
I think you also have to look at, considering that we are going to be getting back McGill and Peterson. Now, I don't know what type of role they're going to be in. I've been probably asked a gazillion times when we've discussed it for probably a year and a half. What role does McGill and Peterson have on this roster? But yet alone, I think one of those two may slide into the bullpen. I'd probably rather McGill more than Peterson because, you know, Peterson with the walks, it's a little less room for error. But you know, getting one of them back, if Hauser could do better in the bullpen, he can give you 3 innings in the bullpen. He can give you 4 innings. Whether it's quality, that's the goal. So I'm not really concerned about them being overtaxed. And like Rob said, Stearns is a masterclass with the bullpen. You have plenty of guys in AAA that you could always option. And I think there's you have 3-4 options now. I don't know. They did something about that in the CBA. So you have plenty of guys that can go out there and knock on wood. But, you know, it's May 9th and none of these guys have really shown any signs of slowing down. I mean, yeah, we'll see how Drew Smith and Brooks Raley are coming back from injury, but you still have a lot of other great bullpen arms on this team. Reed Garrett's been great.
Say the name, Hayden. This guy has stepped up in particular.
Drew Smith has looked good.
Well, not only him, Mr. Jorge Lopez, man.
Oh, Jorge Lopez has been phenomenal,
great.
and that was Stearns. I mean, yeah, he's been great.
I agree.
I was actually thinking about that with Jorge Lopez. Like, man, that was a good pickup right there, man. That guy's been great. That guy's been very, very good.
Stearns knows what he's doing, man. I just have to say. So let's get to the last topic, and this is what we were talking about in our group chat about having something positive about the Mets. It could be a player, a coach, a team, or some organization, whatever. So I'm gonna say it's not gonna be a player. I'm going right after the positive vibe for Carlos Mendoza because he is the guy that has been making a lot of the right moves, sitting Pete Alonso down when he using his gut and not just analytics in a book to tell him what to do. I think he's doing this with the bullpen. I think he's doing it with giving guys days off, playing some matchups that is probably more gut feeling than analytical. I'm going with my positive mental attitude and PMA positive mental attitude, positive vibes right now for Carlos Mendoza. That's what I'm going to go with. Hayden, a little bit of PMA. Who's your positive take on the Mets, player, coach, whoever?
Overall, it has to be the bullpen. I mean, this bullpen has been fantastic. Everyone from Adam Ottavino to even heck, Sean Reed Foley's been better than normal. Reed Garrett, Drew Smith, Jorge Lopez. The bullpen has been very good. They've gotten out of situations where last year 100% would have blew it. And we saw how clutch the bullpen's been. We saw it, I think it was the second game with the Cardinals, right? You had bases loaded, 1 out. You got a strikeout pop fly strikeout, boom. Oh, last year that would have been a grand slam, 100%, or a sac fly and a single. Bullpen's been very clutch. Yeah, they've had a couple, Diaz questionable, but I still think he's a great pitcher regardless. So the bullpen 100% gets it for me, and I think Mendoza is probably a second for me too.
All right, and Chris, a little bit of positive vibes, PMA. Who you got?
What do we call in this segment? PMA. What does it stand for? Positive mental assessment.
Positive mental attitude.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we get it right. This is a new segment, and I like that we're doing it. And you know what? I love the bullpen pick. I love the Carlos Mendoza pick. And I really want to go back to the roots of what I've been saying on the roundtables, but I got 2 PMA topics. I'm going to take it a step further and go up with a bang here on the first segment ever on the roundtable. First one is the usual rotation. The usual rotation they've outperformed all of my expectations so far this season. They've been keeping this team in ball games, and I never expected this rotation to really wow me. And they haven't. They haven't wowed me per se, but they've kept this team in ball games consistently, which is what we all could just hope for and continue to hope for, and just hope the offense shows up. So I'm going to go the rotation. And 2, the guy who hired Carlos Mendoza, David Stearns. I have full confidence in this regime now, guys. Full confidence. Where in years prior, decades prior, whatever, however far back you want to go, I did not have confidence. But regardless of what the end result of this season is going to be, I have full confidence that David Stearns is always working the phones. He's always getting a feel for what this team needs with his manager in the clubhouse with Carlos Mendoza. And he's having those intermediary discussions with Steve Cohen. Hey, what is the route that we're going to take, not only in this season, but making the necessary moves to set us up for success for future seasons. And I think that David Stearns pushed all the right buttons in terms of having that little intermediary action of making this team respectable this year, while also keeping an eye out on the future to make this a sustainable success. That's my key takeaway there, sustainable success. So rotation for me, minus Hauser. Rotation, I got to say minus Hauser. He can't be included in that. I'm sorry. And David Stearns, my 2 PMA candidates of this first ever segment. And I love it. Hopefully everybody in the chat loves it. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you.
All right. Heck, last but not least, the cleanup hitter.
All right.
Give us your PMA.
Question first: are we gonna do closing, or this is it? Because I know the Rangers game is about.
This is technically the closing.
All right, because I know the games are about to start, and we want to get out of here. So I'm gonna go through this real quick because I did want to shout out the room, and I wanted to touch on a few things. Amizi, JD Martinez, let's give him a little bit more time. Let's give him about 2 more weeks. Let's not get desperate. I know he hasn't been tearing the cover off the ball, but he's gotten a couple of hits. Had a couple of hits the other day. We'll be all right. My guy Junior, man, I hear you, but a 97 to the mouth of Ozuna, damn. That's a little extreme, but I hear you. I do wish, like you said, that we were facing Strider because we do seem to hit him, knock him around. So good point by you. I wish we were seeing Strider. And yeah, us fans are the MVP, as Junior said. CP, you mentioned Kendall. I wanted to shout Kendall out because she's the only female that's sitting here. There might be other females, but always got to shout out the females. Thanks for the support. And I agree with you, Kendall. Scott is him. And I'm upset I can't go on Saturday because I got to go to opening day for my softball team that I play with my cousins and my friends from my neighborhood. We all grew up. And shout out to everybody that if you in here follow me and you interacted with that post of mine and told me I should go spend time with my family, you guys win. That's what I'm gonna do. I love the Mets. I want to be there for Christian Scott, but there'll be many, many, many more Christian Scott performances that I could go to. Can never take time back from your friends. Ricardo, Christian Scott in the innings. Listen, we all know that's gonna happen, right? They're going to limit his innings. Let's not go crazy about it. Because like my guy CP said, and which is why I wanted to do this one positive point segment. Not because we're not positive, because we touch on everything here, right? And my guy CP always brings the positives. But overall, the fan base could get a little bit negative. And for some reason, we still question our front office. And I think you're not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So I trust that this front office will do the right thing by Scott, the right thing by this team, the right thing by us, the fans. And let's not worry about the limits, the innings limit. They'll figure it out how to get him here. And if we need him down the stretch, I'm hoping they'll figure out how to make him available down the stretch. And the other thing you touched on, and I think CP responded on here, the DFA has to be Alvarez. I mean, not Alvarez, Narvaez. Get his ass out of here. I'm sorry, CP. I know you don't like Nito. Tomas Nito's a capable backup. But that's all he is a backup. The problem is we've asked too much of Nito. We've wanted too much of Nito. And lastly, before I give my positive, my man Amir, shout out to you because you shouted me out before. Padre fan here. Oh, man, as I say that, he says again, Padre fan here for Hector, but have the photo. I love you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, here's my positive. And, again, there's many positives. But as pessimistic Met fans, we ignore that, right? One thing is, what are we, 19 and 18, right? We are a 1 game over 500, aren't we? Or no?
No, 500.
Well, even 500.
518.
No, yeah, my bad. I was hoping to go one game over yesterday, but we didn't. But you guys gave great positives, and I'm with you on all of them. So I'm gonna take this one here. I think my positive, guys, has to be Brett Beatty. And I know he's not killing the ball. But the growth that we've seen from him defensively, the confidence that he's playing with, that attitude that he's playing with, his post-game comments, all of that. I pay attention to all of that stuff. And it drove me crazy last year when he talked about it. It seemed like the pressure was getting to him in New York City. So shout out to him for putting in the work. Shout out to him for the way that he's playing. And listen, I don't know if he's the answer or not, right? Because you won the slugging third baseman and all that. But so far, so good. And I think in time, he'll figure out how to be that slugger that he could possibly be. But he's my positive so far, along with all of you guys' positives, because I think there are many positives.
Absolutely. So the PMA segment, first of the roundtable, Hayden was the bullpen. Chris went big and went the rotation and David Stearns. And Hector, surprised that I didn't think he was going to say Brett Beatty. I knew he was going to go with Brandon Nimmo, but he went with Brett Beatty. And I went
Brandon Nimmo's always a positive.
Carlos Mendoza, I went with. But before we go, Hayden got something to say about his new channel. Get Hayden.
Yeah, I just wanted to, before just head out, I do have a new channel, Bills Talk with Hayden, if you guys would like to check it out. Yes, I'm a Bills fan, so hopefully that's not too much of an issue. But if you guys could check it out, I did upload a video in regards to the draft, so definitely going to be talking about that. And then I'll also have a hockey channel coming out soon, so that'll be coming out soon. So I'll have 3 channels that I will be running. So hopefully at least one of them will give me happiness in my life at some point. So we'll see. But otherwise, appreciate everyone for tuning in. Not a Rangers fan, but go Rangers. Celtics play in literally any second. Go Celtics. And yeah, that's all I got. Let's go Mets. And please show a statement and don't get demolished by Atlanta. I know I said it last stream, the Mets are in a playoff team and everyone harassed me. So maybe if I say it again, it'll bring him some luck.
Yeah. Chris, you had something to say also?
Yes. Blue Shirts Banner post game. Subscribe to all of our channels up here. All of our channels. We got a Rangers post game tonight on the channel. If you're a Rangers fan, hit that subscribe button. About 18 subscribers away from 700 on my channel. I definitely appreciate all the support from people already subscribed and subscribers of your guys' channel. Let's go Rangers. Let's go Mets. And let's go Knicks. We do post games for it all. I appreciate you all. This has been a hell of a roundtable.
Get it.
Sure. Real quick, Rob, I'm sorry. Yo, guys, man, support my guy Chris, man. He puts in a lot of work. This dude is in there after every freaking game of the teams that we root and love and root for, and he's giving you good content. So check him out, man. Yo,
absolutely. I'm sleeping. And I hear his notifications pop
What
up.
are you? Hold on, Rob. Hold on, because this guy got away with this crap last time, bro. And it's okay. You're going to be a Islanders fan, a Celtics fan, and shout out to my guy JoJo, who he's a Braves fan, that jerk off. But he pointed out something that I was seeing in the last stream, but I was kind of ignoring. And then I saw it again on the replay. What the hell are you hiding under them glasses today? What are you wearing today? Oh, my God.
Hey, it's usually the Twins hat. It's usually
I don't know. Listen, Twins have like a 12-game win streak.
It's not a Yankee hat. That's all I gotta say. It's not a Yankee hat.
If he comes here with a Yankee hat, either he goes or I go off the stream that day.
0-4. They beat the Yankees in the.
You're killing me, Hayden. You're killing me, brother. You're killing me.
Next stream is gonna be a nice.
All right, guys. So that was a great stream. Obviously, another Mets Roundtable in the books. I had a consistent 150 on my YouTube channel. So shout out to everybody who stuck around on this off day. Once again, guys, Mets and Braves, 3-game series, big series for the Mets coming back home. Let's see what they can do. 500 right now. Let's get out of this series and take a damn series from the Braves and get this fan base excited, just like Ranger fans and Knicks fans are right now. Get this fan base excited. So with that said, Mets Roundtable in the books, guys. Hayden, Chris, Hector, have a great night. Let's go Rangers tonight, guys. And, of course, let's go Knicks when they play again. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a great night. As always, let's go Mets. See you next time.
Let's go Mets, baby. Thanks, guys. I know I pushed for this. Thank you, man.